Hello everyone and welcome back to what is going to be sort of a special version of the Rarpack. Last time I believe we were just getting into the electrical age of GregTech. We needed some steel and we needed a few machines, but we were working on building a generator. And I'm happy to say that I was able to do that. I don't remember if we got through it last time, but I did end up making a bronze blast furnace over here. It took a while to get there, but after using a ridiculous amount of copper, tin, and clay, I was able to craft this baby up and make the amount of steel that I need. You'll notice over here there is a 3x3x4 space that is empty. That's because I was also able to acquire some very important items and pieces to make a blast furnace from Railcraft as well, which operates a little bit faster. You can see these guys right here are actually blaze crops, and I also have glowstone crops growing. The blaze crops were so I could make the magma creams that I needed. My trip to the nether didn't bear fruit right away, and I did end up dying several times, but at the end of it all, I was able to get a bunch of soul sand, a bunch of nether bricks, and then also a bunch of other things, including the blaze essence that I needed, and I have plenty of slime balls left and a few extra blaze rods from all of the things that I gathered. You'll also notice that I have a bunch of materials in here. I was actually building quite a bit. Like I said, I was able to get to the generator, and I also now have a metal former, which helps us produce plates more efficiently, though not all plates, just a few specific ones. And I also have an assembly machine made, which will help us cut down on the amount of steel that we use to make a couple of our next tier machines. I have a coke oven back here as well. This is making the coal coke that we need to power the Railcraft blast furnace. And all of our bronze machines are still here. I still have the Steam Forge, which isn't a very useful thing other than the fact that you don't need to build hammers anymore, but since I still had a few, I was using them up. We still have our steam extractor, we still have the steam smelter, and I also have an igneous extruder up here, which is also new from the last time, and I've been using that to make a lot of essence bricks. I have a whole bunch of coal crops outside, and I'm using those to make special colored bricks, which look really cool for what I'm about to show you. I have had it with hiding down here in the depths of the earth every night and running and hiding. So you'll see over here we have a future hub location waypoint set. We're going to go ahead and take a walk out there because I have something very fun to show everyone. Usually I've been trying to go back and forth between one episode of Agrarian Skies and then one episode of the Rarpack, but I'm going ahead and doing a second episode with the Rarpack because I've been spending the last 4 or 5 days probably working on this thing out here. I eventually want to make a server. A friend of mine actually has a server computer that I'm going to be able to take from him, or, well, I guess kind of buy from him. But I will have a way to set up a server. And I want to use this map as the server, or at the very least, a chunk of this map. So I've been building something out here that is going to eventually be the spawning hub for when someone first joins the server. It's going to be huge, it's going to have a city installed with it, and this is what we have so far. It's going to be much taller, much wider, much more awesome, but for now, this is what we have. I've been using factory blocks from Chisel. I don't know if I have any more sitting here to show you, it doesn't look like it. But those are kind of making like our walkways, and I will eventually also have catwalks installed on this floor. But this is going to be our first floor, and it's going to be where we eventually put all of our charging stations and some tool repositories and things like that. But for now, I have the generator, the metal former, and the assembly machine over here. The next thing that we want to build is the plate bending machine because it's much more efficient and can bend all different kinds of metals into plates that it needs. But it is kind of expensive. I need 2 compressors, which each require a steel machine hull. I need a total of 6 circuits with the conveyor module, both the automatic compressors and the 2 integrated circuits on here, and then I also need 4 pistons. So it's not a cheap thing to make, but with the assembly machine here, that actually cuts down the amount of steel that I'll need from 16 to 12. Well, 16 to 12 for each compressor. each steel machine hull, these is actually a stainless machine hull, but you need 6 plates and then machine parts to make one. So instead of needing 8 plates, you would only need 6, but you still need to have 2 ingots for every plate. So I need 6 times 2 of these times 2 for each plate. So I actually need 24 steel to make the plate bending machine, but afterwards we'll be able to make 1 steel plate for 1 steel ingot. So that's why I have this guy over here, and I'm going to go ahead and get these guys started. I will not be able to build the plate bending machine today, but I did want to make this episode so that I could show you guys what I have here so far. You can see here I have a whole bunch of lighting set up over here. This is to make it very easy to see and make sure that no monsters are ever going to spawn. I actually had F7 turned on to double check. If I set things up in this manner, nothing will spawn inside the building. So we're going to have a couple more over here, a couple along the sides, the whole way around, and then we're also going to have this layout on the corners as well as having these lights go through the walkways. So once that's all done, I'll probably end up installing a couple of catwalks so that we can have a few more machines and a few more areas for charging stations later on when it's actually built into the server design. But yeah, you can see on the mini-map, very, very large. And this is also in an octagon, almost a circle shape, because eventually about 4 stories, 5 stories below, we're going to have the location of our plasma generator, and also the location of a very large and very powerful fission reactor core. I'm going to have about 4 cores, 1 in each corner of the tower. It's also going to go up several levels, culminating at the very top with a bunch of windmills and a bunch of ultimate solar panels from the Advanced Solar Panels mod. That way we have all kinds of power generation, and anyone that comes in here for the first time has the chance to, if they're not great at being able to build everything, they can come in here and buy stuff in the town and the city that's going to be built, and then they can charge all of their tools and stuff in here if they need to. So that's kind of the idea where we are right now. We have a lot of work to do, but I was very excited that I was able to get the first full level built. This means that with a little bit of stuff in each of the doorways to make sure that nothing gets in or out, that I don't have to worry about being attacked, and I can also be above ground. And then I will also be having the same setup of lights showing, the inverted lamps up here. That way nothing will spawn on top either. And then I can also use this before I actually enclose the next level. So yeah, that's the idea. I actually had it written down. The actual city is going to be absolutely massive. Big enough, in fact, that I will probably need to set up some personal anchors to make sure that everything is actually loaded at one time. But it would appear that I have it written down as each side is going to be about 120 blocks. So this side here is 15, so you can imagine something almost 10 times that long being the outskirts of the city, and that's going to be going in all 8 directions the whole way around here. So that's what we'll end up having by the end, and that's something that I'll kind of be showing along the way as I continue to build things. Because I do want to go through and kind of show everyone how some of the GregTech machines work and how to set some things up. That way when people are able to join, that they have a bit of an idea without having to, figure everything out on their own and have things explode, because that does happen, and we'll look into that eventually. But also so that while I'm sitting here making everything, that other people can kind of see it and take a look at some of the interesting things I'm going to end up having. There are some things that I'm going to build off camera and that I will not show. Not necessarily as a I don't want you to see it, but as a I want some things to remain a mystery. That way if anyone does join on the server, they can't look at these and be like, oh, I already know where everything is. You actually have a little bit of time to do some exploring, since Minecraft is supposed to be an open world style game where you do some exploration on your own. So I'm going to go and have a sleep, and once we get back, we'll look into getting some of the materials that we need. My guess is I'm going to have to do some more mining, because I completely exhausted what I had just building these things. I know it's only 3 machines, and that's kind of sad, but they are just so resource intensive when you don't have all of the machines that you need to make them more efficient. So the main thing that I think we're going to shoot for today is to, one, get the pistons done, because those will be easy, and two, get the circuits and the conveyor module built, because those don't require steel. The automatic compressors are going to take a lot of steel, so we'll get those started over here. I will need to bring back 22 steel, and then, let's see, 22 times 2 is 44, minus 7 is going to be 37, so we will also need 37 coal coke. Not an easy thing to acquire, but that is actually enough coal there. So that'll be something else that we get into. And then I'm also going to end up getting into, I don't have the resources yet, but as soon as the plate bending machine is done, I'll be able to start building Mine Factory Reloaded farms, the planters and the harvesters, and those are going to be really useful for kind of ore generation for me instead of having to go out and mine everything, because while I do like mining, there gets to be a point where going out and doing it manually is just never going to make you enough resources as actually having it automated. Now we can make quarries and quarry pluses, and I can use those things to start making things automatic. And I will eventually get there, and we'll find somewhere kind of far away from everything else. That way we don't have giant holes in the world where we're actually playing. But for the time being, I just don't have the resources. So the best way to do it is to have these crop fields or have bees running. Now I don't have a whole lot of stuff for forestry and bees yet, so we're going to just kind of stick with these guys because we do have quite a bit of stuff going right now. But you'll notice over here, all of these over here are actually coal crops, because I've been using coal like crazy and we don't actually have a lava generator set up yet. But that will be our second task. I actually need the plate bending machine in order to build it, but once we have that done, instead of using a regular generator like we have right now, we're going to go with the geothermal generator. Now this uses lava to generate power, and I believe it's about 20 EU per tick instead of 10 EU per tick like the generator. And in addition to that, thanks to the power that is ex nihilo, we have, between the igneous extruder making cobblestone and the crucible making lava, we have an endless lava source that we can use to produce essentially unlimited energy. Now, in order to make enough to actually do things like power a matter fabricator, we would need just chunks and chunks loaded with all of these machines and geothermal generators. Or even thermal generators, which produce power a little bit faster. But even with those, you need an absolute butt ton of them. So we won't be able to get into those in that scale, but we will have an unlimited power source, and I will eventually build a couple of energy storage devices so that when we're not using power for anything, we can still have a pile of it stored up. So within the next episode or two, I'm hoping to have everything moved out there. I'm also hoping to have the pigs, the chickens, and then out by the base there are already cows and sheep nearby. I'm hoping to get a few pens made up for each of those animals. That way all of those things that I need are available, and I don't need to actually spend my essences to make those crops. And the other thing that we're going to look into is getting some of the crops to make things like iron and copper and tin. Because you can see I have some copper left, I have actually an okay amount of tin left, about the same. I have almost no iron left. I have a ton of gold because I don't need it for anything. And then I also have some silver and a couple of uranium. But in general, very, very low on resources. I have some stuff in here, and then I have some stuff in here, but you'll notice there just isn't a whole lot. And it's hard to get more because anytime I have to build a machine, it just takes everything that we have. So I'm going to look into getting more mining done. Also get myself a little more food. But yeah, I'm going to be moving all this stuff down there. That way we can utilize things a little bit quicker, and I don't have to run the 272 meters back and forth when I need something from the other base. So we'll be taking all of these things out. I'll be moving all of these things down there. I'll be taking out this coke oven, which is actually going to have, what, 7? And we said that we needed 37, so bam, we'll go and let those guys all finish, and then we're going to need lots of iron to make our steel. So why don't we go ahead and jump into that. We'll get some of those things ready. And then the other thing that I wanted to make was some... Let's see if I have anything else that I need in here first. Okay, the other thing that we wanted to make was more circuits. Now, the way circuits are made is different in GregTech. Usually, you can use just redstone and a piece of iron, but we need to make iron plates and red alloy plates. Now, red alloy plates are the reason why I made this steam smelter. If you put in a copper and 4 redstone, it will make one of the red alloy plates. But that is still very expensive. But if you look through here, another way to make them is with the assembly machine. You can make basic circuit boards and 3 copper cables. Now, not only does this cut down the amount of copper cables you need in half to make one electronic circuit, but the basic circuit board can be made in more than one way. You can use 2 red alloy plates and an aluminum plate. You can use an aluminum plate and 2 electrum plates, which are the combination of gold and silver, which is what we're going to be using to make 2 circuit boards, and then the same thing with iron plates and either electrum or red alloy. So redstone and copper are useful for a lot of other things. Gold and silver are useful for some, but never in large quantities. But for this purpose, they're very, very helpful, and it's a very easy way to make them. So those are really the only 2 ways to do that, but it is really helpful. And once we start finding, once we have what we need to make aluminum plates, which is going to be the blast furnace, or rather the industrial blast furnace, not any of the blast furnaces that we have, because there are just so many different machines to make. But once we can start doing that, we don't have to use our iron, we don't have to use our copper, we don't have to use our redstone in order to make our basic circuit boards. We'll need a couple pieces of copper to make our wires for it, and then we're going to need a little bit of rubber, but rubber can be automated. Copper is only used in 1 ingot pieces for every circuit board instead of using, without machines, you actually need 6 ingots to do it. So we're able to cut it from 6 ingots down to 1 with the help of these machines, which is really, really good for the other things that we don't need copper for. For example, if you take a look at, let's take a look at the fusion coil, for example. The fusion coil needs an iridium neutron reflector, which is pretty expensive. You need an iridium reinforced plate, which I won't really get into, and then you need thick neutron reflectors. The thick neutron reflector is made with a beryllium cell, also very difficult to acquire, and neutron reflectors. And each neutron reflector, it's not actually showing me, but the neutron reflectors use coal, tin, and copper. One copper, or rather 1 coal, 4 tin, and 4 copper dust. So quite a bit in order to make one of them. If you do the math, you need like, I think 2,000 of these neutron reflectors in order to make all the fusion coils that you need, which is outrageous, but that's just what it is. So not only do you need to be able to find all of those resources, but you also need to not use them for anything else in order to make all of these. And that's only one piece of the puzzle to make only these fusion coils. You'll also need a ridiculous amount of titanium and chrome in order to make the fusion reactor, but we will get into that stuff later. Once I have the server set up and I can just kind of go AFK and let it run for days on end, generating all the ores and resources that we need, then we'll get into it, which may sound a little bit cheaty, but honestly, that's the nature of it. That's the only way you'll be able to do it without literally spending years on it. I was actually playing my old game on Feed the Beast Ultimate, and I have been playing the same world for at least 2 years at this point. I am still no closer to the fusion reactor than when I first picked it up. It's a monster, and it's lots of fun, but also next to impossible. So we have a lot of iron dust, we have a lot of gold dust, we'll get some silver dust here. We'll be able to use all of this stuff in order to make the other things that we need. Now we said that we needed 24 and we made 2, so let's go ahead and put those guys there. Those, I'm going to put 2 more over here too because we will need those. We'll need all of those to turn into that. We get an extra pulverized lead. How much fun is that? Toss that in there. And then, yeah, the electrum, all you do is put this and this in there, like so. And you get essentially 1.5 electrum dust for every one of each of these you put in, which isn't really a bad trade-off. It used to be 2 full dust, but they've nerfed it a little bit. But to a point, I can see why it was a pretty easy way to do it. But yeah, there's 12 electrum dust for the cost of only 4 silver ingots. We didn't use any copper, or any copper or any redstone, but we have these, and we said that we needed to make 6 circuits, and this will give us, I think, nearly enough to do that. The problem is I don't think we can actually use our metal former to make plates out of these guys, so we will need to do these the old-fashioned way with hammer. Now, once we have 12 of those, we can, we'll have 12 plates rather. The 12 plates we have to use in 2x2s with an iron plate, but each of those will give us 2, so it's basically 1 circuit for every one of those, and that will give us 6 total, which is perfect. The next thing that we will need is lots of copper, so why don't we just go ahead and toss 8 in here for now to get us started. Toss that in there. I'm also going to just, I don't know if I can actually burn these ladders or not, but we'll see. If not, I need to get them out of my inventory anyway, because I'm not really using them for anything. Then let's go ahead and, okay, we can make them like this, but I'm going to go ahead and check and make sure that the electromingots can't be made in the metal former. I'm pretty sure they can't, and that you need the plate bending machine, which is what we're shooting for. But in the event that that's not the case, you know, why waste them? We need it to not be night so that I can go harvest some more coal. And we'll also need a few more pieces of iron and a little bit of redstone in order to make the pistons that we're going to end up needing. Now, luckily, I've been doing a lot of stuff with these, so let's go ahead and get that. We'll grab some wood here, we'll grab some of these here, get our 4 iron ingots, and that'll be one of the things out of the way that we need to make. Grab this out. Thanks to the saw, we can make these a little bit cheaper. So let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay, so we have our pistons. That's good. Let's go back to the plate bending machine real quick. Okie dokie. So we have those guys done. We're working on the things that we need for the pistons. The conveyor module, I need 3 iron plates, an RE battery, which I can actually bring the materials that we need with me. I'll go and grab some of these guys. We already have a tin insulated cable. We have some redstone, so we're good on all of those accounts. Rubber pulp. We do not have much left, and I'm going to need more than that. So it would appear that it's time for us to do some more rubber harvesting. I don't think I actually used the last one that I made. No, I didn't. I'll go ahead and use this guy up first. But thanks to all the rubber trees that I planted out here, a lot of them actually came up with like 2 or 3 spots for the rubber pulp, or the sticky resin to be harvested. So as long as I have something similar to this setup at the other base, we will never really run out of the rubber, which is nice because we need quite a bit of it too. Despite the fact that we can make the circuits fairly efficiently, you still run out. I had a setup making rubber in my old Feed the Beast world, and I still would run out of rubber. I finally just let it run for a while until I had about 12,000 sticky resin available, which was helpful, but it still wasn't going to be enough by the time that I was done building the fusion reactor. So that kind of puts it in perspective for you just how much we actually need in order to do some of these things. I would also grab the igneous extruder stuff out, but I really don't need to right now. We're just going to let it run for the time being, I think. It's also an easy way to make obsidian as long as you have a lava source. It takes a full bucket of lava and it takes a full bucket of water, but it can make the obsidian for you, and then you can just pick it up instead of actually needing a diamond pick to harvest it. So if you're ever in need of obsidian, it's an easy way to do that. And it's actually a way to get magnesium, I believe, so you do need magnesium for a couple of things. Okay, let me not get stuck in the door, and let me go ahead and do a couple of these things real quick. First thing we're going to need is some of that. Alright. I was going to plop some in there and go ahead and let some of the sticky resin grow, or get turned into rubber pulp, but for the time being, let's go ahead and water a couple of these guys up, get a couple more going. We actually have them, a lot of them almost grown up, so I'm just going to run around here real quick, see if I can't get a couple more to pop up. That actually went okay. There's another one, another one. And you also, I think you may have noticed a little while back, I actually had about 10 extra coal seeds on me. I don't want to make anything bigger for the time being, only because I'm planning on moving everything. But when I do, I'll end up making a bigger one, and I will automate this process of picking them and replanting them once they're mature. That's what the planters and the harvesters from Mine Factory Reloaded are for, and they actually work really well for this purpose. And then we can do something like sending them to an automatic crafting table to turn them directly into coal, or we can have them just go in as regular old coal essence. That way we can use them to make more of the bricks to continue building the our giant hub. So we'll get into that. I'll see if I can't overlay on one of these videos some of the designs that I have for what it's going to look like as far as like the whole city is concerned. But just rest assured that it's going to be monumental, and I'm going to try to make it look as cool as possible as well. There's I'm not the best Minecraft builder, but I am very good at making things symmetrical, and for my OCD complexes that I have, it's good for that purpose. We'll go ahead and let some of those be built. We have 6. We need 3 for every circuit. We need to make a total of 6, which means we're going to need 18. So we'll need 12 more, which means we'll need 4 of these to actually go through. So let's go ahead and grab out those, and one's already in there. Okay, so we're not going to do anything with these guys. We'll just plop them in there, and oh, look at that. We already had 6 more in there. Okay, so we have plenty of those guys lying around now. Let's go ahead and get rid of these. And everything else that we have in here is pretty much necessary. We don't need any of these guys. We have all of those electrum that we need now. We have all of the iron that we need now. We'll actually need more iron in order to make the conveyor module, but I do have the glass already. We're working on the pistons, or the circuits rather. I have the tin, the insulated tin cable, and the redstone to make the RE battery, and then the only thing that we need are the steel for the compressors. We'll also need some smooth stone, but look at that, I don't even need to smelt any to get that, so we'll just go ahead and carry some of these around with us as well. So yeah, I think presently that's about all the more that we can do. I can spend a little bit of time actually throwing some of the stuff in here, but we will still need 2 more of these guys to finish, and that could take a second or 2. I'm trying to think of other things that I can do in the meantime so that we're not kind of sitting still anywhere. For now, let's go ahead and keep grabbing up the materials that we need, anything that I can think of to bring down here with us. I think I will actually bring... I'm going to go and bring a full stack of this, and we'll bring the bronze saw. That way we can start setting up a bunch of chests down there, and we can use that to start transporting some of the materials down there. Like I said, I do want to make fields for some crops and fields for some of these essence crops that we have. We're actually doing okay as far as the kind of things that I would like to have. I do still want some of the metal crops, though. I'd like to get copper, tin, and iron for starters. We seriously just use an unbelievable amount of those early on. We don't really need any other materials right away, but those are big ones that we do need. And luckily, you actually get the ore from those, not just ingots. So you can actually send them through all of the GregTech ore processing to get more use out of each one of them. Do we not have... No, we have heat in there. This just takes an absolute crap ton of steam, apparently. Okay. Well, tell you what. Instead of leaving it right there, we'll take a quick run out here. We'll go ahead and do the everything but the last couple of pistons that we can do for now, and we'll go ahead and get some of the steel started, because that's definitely going to be an important thing to have done. The coal coke isn't done yet, but we have quite a few to get us started. And like I said before, it takes 2 coal coke, which is the equivalent of 2 coal, to go ahead and make 1 steel ingot with the Railcraft blast furnace. You need 4 coal and 1 iron ingot in order to make the in order to make the steel ingot with the bronze blast furnace. So it saves you a lot of coal to use the Railcraft blast furnace. You just need to make a trip into the Nether where you don't have to with the GregTech blast furnace. But it is also extremely copper and tin intensive. I actually thought that I had enough when I was first building everything, but it turned out I only had about half of what I needed. And if you'll notice, I have almost no coal and no tin, or no copper and no tin left. That's because it turned out that we needed a lot more than what I thought. So we'll put those guys in there. That'll give us a total of 24, and that will give us all of the stuff that we need. I can go ahead over here real quick. I should still have a couple of coal on me. Toss a couple of those in there. This is actually fully charged. We'll make 1, 2, 3 of these. Didn't bring the copper. Okay. Oop. Okay. Also, these need to actually be set to different things. Rolling will make plates. Cutting will turn plates into wire, and then the extruder, or the little copper wire thing that was on there, will just turn ingots into wire. So it's kind of a way to use a wire mill and a plate bending machine, but it only works for a few materials, whereas the plate bending machine works for all plate types, the wire mill works for all wire types, and is also used for other things like cuprinickel heating cells. For the time being, that's what we need. So we have the glass. The other thing that we need to make, and I'll go ahead and do that now. I don't know if I actually showed it or not. The tin ingots can be hammered into tin plates. This is also very coal hungry. It only produces 4K, and these things use quite a bit of resources to do this. I don't know if it actually shows how much, but it's a lot. But these tin plates can be extruded or hammered again, and they will be turned into casings. And the casings are what you use to make the RE batteries. You need 4 of them. But luckily, 2 tin will turn into 2 tin plates in here, and then each tin plate turns into 2 item casings. So we actually get everything that we need without needing to use a full 4 tin. The first RE battery you make without any of that help, you actually need 8 tin. So this is much more effective. So now we have our RE battery. Now we need 2 circuits, which I don't have the copper wire for, in order to make our conveyor module. But once we have that, and once we have the other sticky resin, we'll be able to go through and make everything that we need. Now, we said that we needed 18 total sticky resin. That also means that we need 18 copper cables. Now, every copper cable, you can make 3 of them with 1 ingot thanks to the metal former, and that means that we would need 6 total ingots. Now, I think we have 8 being made. I'm also being attacked from afar by a skeleton, because why not? They just happen to spawn all over the place. But yeah, we should have 8 copper dust back in the pulverizer. We can get those guys started and bring those with us. And we'll make one more trip. I know this episode might be kind of long and we didn't do a whole lot, but the whole point was kind of to show you some of the work that I've been doing. I'll get into some more stuff later, and I'll see if I can't make a couple of mining expeditions. I made a few, but I used everything to get to where we are right now. And it wasn't even really used to build any of the base. It was only to build the couple little machines that I have in the base. But we are getting to the point very soon, actually, where we'll be very efficiently using materials that we get, and that will be very helpful. Okay, we have all of that, which is good. We have 16. Much better. Go ahead and toss some in there and some in here, so it's a little bit faster. I also want to go in here real quick, and we cannot combine the hammers, so I guess it probably would have been better for me to just try to use this one up right away. But we're just going to toss those in there, because I don't really need those for anything else. Lots of things that you can do with them, though. Old casing, plate casing. Oh, so that's how we make the gear casing. That's actually something that I do need, because that's a much more efficient way of making gears, but you need an extruder for that. and it might not sound like much, but the extruder is designed to be a universal bending machine, I think. But it is an expensive son of a bee. We need titanium machine hulls, titanium gears, titanium plates, a diamond saw blade, a data control circuit, and a nichrome heating coil, which needs a bunch of nichrome ingots, which needs a bunch of nichrome dust, which needs a bunch of chrome, which we have about 0 of right now. I have a couple of rubies, but I have no way to actually process them into chrome right now, so that's a lot of other things that we'll end up getting into. Okay, I keep hearing zombies, but we're in the daytime, so I don't know how that's happening. But it would appear that they are just spawning down here. Also, because sapphires don't really hold anything very expensive inside them, and they're fairly easy to come across, I actually made sapphire tools to save my diamonds and my iron. I know I should probably make another sword, but I'm also getting a little bit greedy and just trying to use the axe as much as possible. I built it so that I could clear out the area around where the new hub is, and I just had a terrible feeling that I forgot something, but it doesn't look like I did. More of the coal coke, but I don't think we'll need that for a little bit still. It takes a while. But yes, I used the axe to take care of everything, but now that we actually have a big area cleared out, I really don't need to use it anymore, so I've just been using it for defense. It does an okay job. And I will eventually make a slightly better route back and forth here. Not that in the end it will be entirely necessary, because I plan for the hub is going to kind of be not necessarily the centerpiece, but it's going to be at the center of the top of the large octagon, and I want the octagon to kind of go in this direction, like keep traveling the way that we're traveling right now, and kind of have the very back of the city just kind of be right around here somewhere, and go out into the wilderness this direction. Okay, so we have the stuff that we need. Let me go ahead and show this to you. So this extruding thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is how many we need. We'll toss a couple of those in there. So this will actually make our wire for us. And like I said, much more effective. It used to be you had to hammer 2 copper ingots into a plate, and then you would take cutters and use the cutters on that plate, and it would give you 2 wire. So you only got 1 copper ingot, or 1 copper wire for every copper ingot, and that hurts. Luckily, now we get 3 for every copper ingot, and that is much better. We also just drain like crazy. Luckily, we're almost done. We'll have 1 more copper in here, and then we'll be about good to go. I think we had these guys started up, right? We're still going? Yeah, we still have plenty of coal coke left in here. It takes quite a while. I think the coal coke burns a little bit longer than regular coal, and it takes 2 of them to actually make a steel ingot in the blast furnace, but it is, trust me, like at least 2 or 3 times faster than the bronze blast furnace that you saw that was still in the base. So here's these guys. Now we need we have our iron plates. We need to make our electrum plates, which let me go ahead and double check here real quick. I'm almost positive that this does not work. Nope, can't actually put them in there. Okay. Some of you are probably getting really angry at me for constantly walking back and forth, but I just had a complete brain fart and kept forgetting that I could just put it a lot closer. And that's what I forgot. Never brought back my hammer. Okay. Well, I think we're going to call it there, because I'm obviously not in my right mind enough to be doing what this this video right now. But when we come back, I'll hopefully have all the materials that I need to make the plate bending machine. I'll show it in action, and maybe I'll build a couple of the last pieces in the assembling machine so that you can see how it looks. It doesn't take too long to make those things. I'll also make a couple more lights so I don't have all of these red squares hanging out here and having monsters possibly spawning around here and there. And once I have all of these guys finished up, the first level will be complete. We'll go ahead and block off these exits for a little bit. That way we're safe inside. And I'll move everything in here so that we're ready to go. One of the next things that we'll build is the plate bending machine, and then probably the industrial electrolyzer, which is going to be another very useful piece for us. And then we'll get into some other things. So we'll get into the electrical age. There's lots of fun stuff that we can do with it, and if there's anything that if you've played GregTech before and you want to see something in particular, or maybe we're having trouble with something, or if there's something interesting you want me to make, any kind of tools and stuff, as soon as I can make them, I will do that. But let me know in the comments. Leave a like if you like the look of the base, and if you have anything that you think the city should have that you don't think I may have thought of yet. Feel free to let me know. But we're going to have lots of stuff in there, and possibly next episode I'll actually talk about what we want to include and kind of give you guys a layout of what it's going to look like. So that's about it, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.